What's up, guys? Week 7 of the NFL is finally here, and it's going to be a good one. I'm really liking my lineup here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing my pro versus pro lineup. I'm going to go through all my players, explain why I picked them, and I'll also be doing a quick overview of my opponent's players, so just to give my quick opinion on what I think about them. So let's get right to it. And also give you some ideas on other players, help you build some lineups of your own for your head-to-heads and whatnot. So this week, as you can see, I go up against Old School. It's going to be a tough one. We are both 4-2, so winner of this match will claim the throne on who is going to take first place for the pro versus pro for now. And it's going to be an interesting one, so I'm excited. I can't wait. And nothing like some good competition. So here are the both lineups that we both have built. Last week, a quick recap, I did very well. I went undefeated. Pretty much all the matches I entered, I cashed out on all of them. Got first place on all my head-to-heads and third place out of 8 on the NFL All-Pro Guaranteed. The way this works is it costs you 10,000 NLC to enter the match. All you have to do is place top 5 and you double your amount. So as you can see with third place, I still doubled my amount. The house took 1,000 NLC, so that's why I have 19,000 in cash. But it was a good week, so I made about 23,000 NLC in profits. So I look to make a bit more this next week. It's going to be a good one. But let's get to the picks. Alright, so I'm going to build the team here with you from scratch. Let's start out with quarterback. As you all know, I like to pay down on quarterback. I rarely ever pay up for quarterbacks in my head-to-head matches. So nothing wrong with all the guys up here. If you want to pay up for quarterback, that's up to you. I always find value with the quarterbacks. And this week, the ones that really interested me were Baker Mayfield. Everybody's talking about Joe Flacco, but I don't know if I could trust that quarterback, to be honest. The ones that were real interesting were Baker Mayfield, if you want to go cheaper. Blake Bortles, but oh man, you just never know what you're going to get with that guy. You could get a high ceiling or a pretty bad game like what he did last week, for example. So anything under that, maybe Alex Smith could step up. But the guy I went with, I was going to go with Baker Mayfield. That was my first option, but after my team was done, I still had a little bit of salary left, and it let me upgrade my quarterback, so I went with a bit safer guy, and that was Carson Wentz. So Carson Wentz at 6,000, he's putting up constantly 20 points. Against Carolina, it's guaranteed he's going to be airing it out a lot, so he should put another 20 point day. I don't see why he doesn't. And like I said, nothing wrong with the expensive guys up here, but always pay down. So let's move on to running backs. Up on top, once again, Todd Gurley, 9,800. Last week he was 10,000. I went with him last week. It sure as hell paid off. Gave me 4x my salary, even at that price tag. So, you know, Todd Gurley's a freaking beast. He's going to deliver every week. And against a very weak San Francisco defense, I hate to say it, my Niners, god damn it, but Todd Gurley's going to have a field day on them. And those Niner and Ram games, for some crazy reason, are always pretty high scoring from what I've seen in the past. So it could be a good shootout game with a lot of points in it. You never know. Might be a good tournament stack for y'all. Alvin Kamara against tough Baltimore defense. I don't want none of that. Zeke Elliott. Oh yeah, so Todd Gurley is my prime pick for this week as well. So I'm going to plug him in. And Zeke. Those are the two top running backs that I can see for this slate, and they both have a good week of a fantasy ahead of them. Zeke obviously has not been scoring much touchdowns lately, so he has that touchdown equity in him, which I always look for in running backs. You know, they're both going to get 20 plus touches. Both are going to be catching passes, giving you that PPR advantage, and they both have that touchdown equity. So out of these two guys, I don't see any other running backs that are more worth it than they are. They're expensive, but I found a lot of value this week, so I was able to plug them both in here. So I'll get to the value with you in a bit. James White is going to have a great day, but I don't see him having a better day than Zeke, though. So I went ahead and passed them. TJ Yeldon could also be good against Houston. He could have a great day. Fournette still out. Mark Ingram against Baltimore. I wouldn't dare. Chris Thompson and everyone in this department here does not appeal to me. Jordan Howard just sucks. I don't know why people were so big on him last week. Sony Michel could be good. He should have a great game here. Matt Breida is a pass catching back for the Niners, and if that game goes high scoring like I'm thinking, Matt Breida could be a great pick here. I know a lot of people are going to be off him or not even thinking about him, but it could be sneaky good here. Carlos Hyde against Tampa Bay. I see him having a great day here. This is a great value running back. If you're looking for value at running back, Carlos Hyde would be a great choice in my opinion. Corey Clement. We know the other running backs in when Philadelphia are injured, but Corey Clement taking a huge load last week. Still didn't produce well, so I wouldn't risk it with the Corey Clement. Adrian Peterson could be good. Everyone else down here, not really anyone that stands out for me. So Peyton Barber had a great week last week. I don't see it being something he's going to keep doing every week from now on. So let's move on to wide receivers. Adam Thielen at the top. Best wide receiver there is right now. He's probably going to go off as the best wide receiver for this season. This guy's a freaking target monster. Cousins freaking loves him. He's going to have another monster game this week. As you can see, his productivity every week is just insane. 32 points, 27, 30, 27. The guy's just getting targets like crazy, red zone targets and touchdowns and everything. One of the greatest wide receivers you could get. There's nothing wrong with plugging him in, even at his price tag. Michael Thomas against Baltimore. Again, against Baltimore, I wouldn't risk it. And he's too expensive going up against Baltimore. Mike Evans against Cleveland. This could be pretty good. My boy Jarvis Landry let me down last week, but this is definitely going to be a good bounce back spot for him. Baker Mayfield's going to be looking his way a lot. I see him getting into the end zone this week. And against Tampa Bay, who allows a lot of yardage and touchdowns, I see Jarvis Landry getting in there and having a good day. So good bounce back spot for Jarvis Landry at 7,300. Stephon Diggs, just as great as Adam Thielen. Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, and all the Rams receivers. They all do pretty good for the most part. Pretty close in salary. It's just up to you to decide who you want to go with here. DeAndre Hopkins, always the freaking beast. And going down here to the cheaper guys. Kiki Coutee was a bit of an upset last week, but then again, that's because Will Fuller came back. And the quarterback looked pretty horrible last week, so Deshaun Watson's got to step it up, which I'm sure he will in this next week. But then again, they go up against Jacksonville, so it's going to be another tough game for them. I would probably avoid Houston at all for this week. There's just better picks out there. Quincy Enunwa is out, so that right there puts in great value Jermaine Kearse. And last week we saw what he did. He was brought into he's getting about 10 targets. He had, I believe, 10 targets with 9 receptions and put up 18 points at a price tag of $4,100. I don't see why he doesn't repeat that this week as well. As long as he gets a good 10 targets, he should be pretty good. So That's definitely going to be my first pick in the wide receivers. Jermaine Kears at 4,100. A guy that's probably going to give you 10 targets plus this week. Amazing value. And the second guy is a guy that has gone under the radar for many. Surprisingly, including me. I just found out about him recently, and this guy's been Mr. Consistent just as well. Last week put up 13 points against Tennessee. This is William Snead of Baltimore. He put up 13 points against Tennessee. Cleveland 10, 11, 6, 10, 14. As you can see, his floor is pretty damn good. And he's just been pretty consistent every week. Gets about 10 targets or so per week. And gets catches most of them. He has not put up any touchdowns yet, so he has that touchdown equity. If he continues playing the way that he is and he gets in the end zone, bam, he's going to give you a 20-point day. So this could be the week he does. And then you have the revenge narrative with him as well, so that always adds some value there. So I'm going to go ahead and plug him in as well. Those were my two value wide receivers. I usually look for value and pay up at running back, pay down on wide receiver. I try and stick to the mid-range on the wide receivers, but if the mid-range is not looking too great or my salary is not allowing me to pick two, I usually go with value here. You can usually always find value in the wide receiver. You always want to pay up for the running backs and pay down in quarterbacks. That's my strategy. So my two value picks at wide receiver were right there. I paid down on that spot. This opened up a lot for me with those two guys right there. At tight end, Zach Ertz, of course, the best tight end this week, but I'm going to avoid him this week because I already have too many studs out here. So Zach Ertz was just not fit anymore here. So the guy I went with is the same guy I went with last week. Last week, I think I was one of the very few who had David Njoku as my tight end. Baker Mayfield loves this guy. He just throws his way a lot. He gets 10 plus targets per week. And last week, he... let me open up his stats. He went into the end zone and got a touchdown, which added more points to his value. So he gave me a good 18 points last week. I was very happy for that. That was awesome. I see that repeating this week as well. Tampa Bay is very weak against the tight ends, and Baker Mayfield loves him. He's going to get a lot of targets. So Njoku, I think, is one of the best tight ends you could get this week. That's what I'm going with. I was going to pair him up with Baker Mayfield, but Carson Wentz is a safer pick, so I went that route. You always want to, when building your head-to-head lineups, you want the least amount of risk. And having Mayfield in my lineup was going to add that bit more risk. So I went with a safer route, Carson Wentz. And it should produce for a better fantasy output for me. On the flex, I usually go three running backs every week. This week's going to be a little different due to the salary I had left over. I had a pretty decent amount, which allowed me to get a stud wide receiver here. Since I was having problems finding that third running back, that third great running back for the week, I just really couldn't find that one guy that was really making me excited. So instead, I went with the wide receivers, and bam, thanks to the salary that I had left over, it allowed Adam Thielen. So I got the target monster in Adam Thielen and the beast in Todd Gurley, and Zeke is gonna have a great week, and then Carson Wentz, a great quarterback, all in the same freaking lineup, and Njoku, who I think is gonna be one of the best tight ends this week. This lineup is just driving me crazy. It was giving me a pretty big hard on. So I'm really excited about this week and what I was able to do with this lineup. So hope to get a lot of action this week. My kicker for the week, Adam Vinatieri. This old geezer is a freaking beast still. He's still putting up field goals week after week. He rarely misses. Against the tough Minnesota defense, I see a lot of field goals happening here. So Adam Vinatieri should have quite a few field goals in this game. And it should be good for him. Other kickers that you might want to consider. Justin Tucker is always good with Baltimore. There might be a lot of I have a feeling this is going to be a low-scoring game, but if it ends up going up high-scoring, then Justin Tucker's going to have either way, it could be good for him, because if it's low-scoring and the Ravens are just going for field goals, then Justin Tucker's going to get a lot of points there, so that could be a great pick too. Robbie Gould stepped it up back again this week. 2 weeks ago, he was freaking horrible. Let me down. I couldn't believe it. I'm a guy that rarely misses field goals. And last week, he redeemed himself. So Robbie Gould is back in action. He could be great this week as well against the Rams. So those are a few more kickers to give you some ideas. On defense, I always go cheap on defense. From all the cheap guys down here, the one defense I opted to go with were the Dolphins. Dolphins surprisingly have been pretty decent on defense. If you see, last week they put up 7 against Cincinnati, 11, and on the first 2 weeks they put up 13. So they haven't been too bad. I've seen them play. The defense is not too bad. So, and also what got me about them, that they play Chicago. And they were able to stop that offense pretty decently well, to the point that, the game went to overtime and they still stopped them in overtime. So the offense ain't that bad of a defense, and they're pretty cheap. So that's pretty much the one I plugged in. Defenses on top. The Jags against Houston. That could be great. Rams and San Francisco. I don't know about this one. I just see this game going high scoring, so Rams are not going to have that much production in the defense from what I think is going to happen. The Vikings are always in play. Colts Redskins, and going down here, it starts getting a bit controversial, but Ravens are always in play for me. Last week I was on the Ravens and they gave me 21 points. I think I was the only one who was on the Ravens. They were so freaking cheap. I just plugged them in. I don't know why so many people weren't on them, but this week against New Orleans, they should have another great game, but if Drew Brees goes off and starts scoring touchdowns like crazy, that's going to affect them. So Dolphins and the Bills are probably my two favorite value defenses. I know the people are really underestimating the Buffalo Bills, but their defense is pretty badass. I mean, last week they put up 14 points, 12 points, 17. Sneakily, they have been a very good defense. They just haven't been getting the credit for it. So the Bills could be another great value defense if you want to go that route. Against Indianapolis, that might be even better than the Dolphins, but I went with the Dolphins. So there you have it. That's pretty much my lineup here. So I have a consistent quarterback in Wentz, a freaking beast running back god, whatever the hell you want to call him, that just puts up points every goddamn week in the air, in the ground, however the hell he can, and he's going to pay off your salary and still give you upside. Zeke, I think it's going to be the best week for him against Washington. Those Dallas-Washington games always get pretty crazy. I got the two greatest value wide receivers who should get 10 targets each. And of course Adam Thielen, which is just freaking target monster as well. So I should be getting at least 15, 25, 35, about 35 targets from my three wide receivers. And about 50 touches from both running backs. So that's a lot of production out of all these players here. And Njoku should give me another 10 guaranteed targets. Carson Wentz is going to put up at least 300, if not more, in the air. A couple touchdowns. And if the Dolphins defense can just destroy freaking Detroit, and they're going to pay off there as well. And I mean, Terry, I know, is going to have at least 10 points plus this week. So this lineup is the most amazing lineup I could come up with for this week. I'm very happy for it. I can't wait to play with it this Sunday. And yeah, if you like it, then come and place your bets over here on the Pro versus Pro contest versus Old School. Let's go through Old School's picks here. He has some great ones as well. He has Jarvis Landry, my boy Jarvis Landry. So I think this is a bounce back week for him. I wasn't able to fit him into my lineups. Otherwise, I would have had him as well. So Jarvis Landry should be great. He has Carson Wentz, quarterback as well. Zach Ertz, the best tight end there is. So that's going to be interesting. And I noticed he went double tight end this week. That's a bit crazy, but I see the narrative behind it. Both of them are I think they're going to be the 2 top tight ends in my opinion. So very good strategy if you want to go double tight end this week. I have nothing against that, but I like my pick of Adam Thielen better. I think that guy's going to produce more points than Zach Ertz or Njoku. So let's see. So he has Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, probably going to be the best tight end this week. Jarvis Landry could have a great week. We both have Todd Gurley. Kenyon Drake has not been too great as of lately, but against Detroit, maybe he goes off and has a great game. But I don't know if I would risk him in my lineups. And then John Brown was disappointing last week. Started out pretty good, and now it kind of looks like he's regressing. So this could be a great bounce back spot for him this week. We'll see how he does. Justin Tucker, a great kicker. Can't go wrong with him. And the Buffalo Bills defense. So there you go. See, Dolphins and the Bills could be the 2 top defenses this week in my opinion. So we got some pretty good players. It's gonna be a great match. Can't wait for Sunday for the throwdown, and let's see who wins. I'm excited. So come and get your bets in here, guys. Already got 15 in for myself. So if by the end of Sunday you want to go crazy with old school and bets have not filled, I will very gladly fill the rest for you. So if you want to go crazy with old school, it's all good. I will do this for the rest of the season. Anybody that wants to fill their bets against the player I'm going up against, I will fill the open bets as well. So bet as much as you want, and I'll go ahead and cover them guaranteed. So that's going to be the Pro versus Pro for this week. I'm excited. I can't wait. Looking for another undefeated week like last week. And hopefully make more than 23,000 NLC this week. Hoping for 40 or 50. We'll see how it goes. And I'll keep you updated on next week. So week 7 of the NFL. Here on the Fantasy Crypt. I'm out.
Okay, let's do this fucking shit.